Yeah. So, ironically, today we got another Malakhi in the building. Not Malakhi Law, but Malakhi Kaine from Africatown International. And Malakhi Kaine from Africatown International is fresh back in the building from Senegal and I think Gambia, West Africa. And peace, Malakhi. What's good with you, man?
Hey, peace, brother. It's a pleasure to be here, and you're absolutely correct. I am back, fresh, relaxed, and ready to get at that. Oh, we got two microphones. Which one? Okay.
Either Any, meeny, miny, mo.
Okay, right on, man.
How you want to flow?
Well, alhamdulillah. First of all, let me say that I am of the people that worship the Lord of the worlds. That is the creator of the heavens and the earth. The dirt, the dust, the atoms, the man, the science, the space, the time, and everything in between. And although we convince ourselves and distract ourselves with various materialistic and euphemistic exploits in our day-to-day life, just to ease the stress of being here and understanding and realizing that we are truly in a state of an emergency.
Indeed.
The so-called African American, the so-called African, even the European, contrary to popular belief, is in a state of emergency. The state of emergency is based on the loss of humanity.
Wow.
The humanity is the man with the hue, or the people on the planet who founded it.
And hue meaning color and melanin, right?
Yes, and I don't want people to get confused with the people of color or the colored people movement or the half-white revolution or any of the other politically correct or inducted schools or trains of thought. I want us to remain focused on humanity.
Right on. So I know we talked earlier, family, and what we was talking about, you were speaking to me about people's misuse, particularly of words, and their lack of knowledge of etymology. So a person is saying something to you, but they don't really know the words they're using or have an understanding of the words they're using, or they think they know, but they don't really know. For instance, somebody would say, they came and conquered. But if we look at that word, you have con and you have queer. So somebody is being conned into being queer, but that's not how they present it. You see what I'm saying? So someone will say, I conquered something. I say, well, man, you conned somebody into being queer, or is that what you, but when you go into the study of words, all the ingredients of the words, and you look at it, it makes you start using the words differently and you get a different result, because that's why they call it spelling, because you're casting a spell, your pencil being the magic wand. So Brother Malakhi is going to go into what he calls, what is it? The new word order. What did you call it, family?
Yes,
102?
we have the Liberationalism.
Liberationalism 102. I called it the new word order. Putting the words in a new order so you get a different result.
And so, this is correct.
In the beginning there was the word.
In the beginning there was the word.
John 1:1.
Yes.
And the word was made
flesh.
And so let's analyze one word and some common words that we all know. The first word, as we just quoted, so-called scripture.
Yes, sir.
In the beginning there was the word. In the Quran, it tells you in the beginning there was the word and it was be, meaning come to life,
right?
Be animated,
or born,
be conscious.
Actual fact.
Okay, so the word universe, if we look at it, it actually means one word, universe.
That's right.
All right. So this is a science and a knowledge that has not escaped humanity, but just been placed out of the reach of our consciousness.
Yes.
Let's deal with three popular words that are extremely visible right now. They keep it in our face. They're triggers for emotional outcries and just triggers in general for other behaviors that some may say are negative or non-productive, or however you may want to look at it. Racism.
Okay.
All right, we
Good
grew up.
word.
Yeah, I'm an '80s or '70s baby. I don't know which one it is, but this word has been in our face. Like the left jab, keeping us off balance every time we step up to get civilized or educated or financially stable. Bow, racism hit us in the jaw, and we got to regroup. So, what does it really mean? And I would say this and ask you the question. A lot of times people speak from a definitive point of knowledge and they speak down to the people, but I want to be on the same level and I want to ask an eye-to-eye question to everybody. What does it mean? So we got racism, we got socialism, we got sexism, we got communism, and all of these isms.
Right.
What is the common denominator?
Ism.
The ism is the common denominator.
Terrorism.
But when we look at it from a more simplistic standpoint, the ism is simply a financial system. It is where one person is being deprived financially or predisposed financially or resource-wise, economically, from the resource while someone else has an advantage to it. If I'm a sexist, I'm a man or a woman,
Right.
and the opposite sex is not having the equal access to the resource that I do. If I am a communist, then the state maintains and controls the resources for the people which have none. If I am a socialist, then I want to redistribute the resources amongst the people. So
The
if
way I
I'm
see fit.
so if I'm a racist,
Right.
I want to maintain control over the resources and eliminate or kind of curtail the competition from the other races for this resource. So this is racism. We confuse racism with prejudice.
Right.
Now, what is prejudice?
Come on.
Prejudice is where I have a predetermined
Judgment.
understanding and judgment of who you are,
Right.
what your intentions are, and your relationship to me in regards to the larger scheme of things, my survival. So if I'm prejudiced against you, this is something I may have obtained from kindergarten or even daycare and carried with me throughout life. This is something that someone could have ingrained in my culture or in my belief system. But however, it is just a preconceived notion. And knowledge is the key. Sometimes we have to admit that the prejudice is correct. Okay? Sometimes we have to admit, if I'm riding down the street with my music playing, my windows down, and I'm having a good time, and two policemen of a certain race drive in the opposite direction and see me, I would be a fool not to be prejudiced at this point in time. And say, man, you better turn that music up, straighten up.
But see, I can't say that's prejudice because that's not a prejudgment. That's based upon your experience.
Well, yeah, but isn't all prejudgments?
I think some people take it on face value, and they've heard something about somebody, and they never really had a personal experience. So then they make a prejudgment based upon false information, false ideas, concepts.
Right, but this is part of their community orientation or their cultural.
Actual fact.
Yeah, somebody in their culture has already prejudged for them, and they've accepted it from a trusted
On
source.
face value, exactly. That maybe it's true, but then in reality, they meet the people and they be like, well, that's where the conflict comes in because they already have these preconceived notions about black people. Then they really meet you in person or work with you and they see that you're way more intelligent than they were told,
Right.
So then they have to readjust.
Right.
You see?
Yeah. So our last word that I wanted to touch on, that's also in the same category, and you've heard it, and it's often used interchangeably with these other two terms, and that's bigotry. So, bigotry. This is the concept of not wanting to procreate or mate or see your descendants or clansmen or people in your, not in the wrong way, your community or social group or genetic makeup mating with someone that you perceive to be in another race. This is bigotry. You see, so these three terms are used. For instance, if someone calls me a name, he's a racist.
Right.
However, we have no financial interaction, and
Right.
you know, they haven't made a predetermination. They've made a statement out of ignorance or out of hate. You know, and me likewise. You know, if a man comes over my house to marry my daughter, and I say, "Hey, man, stop right there. We're not having that." You know, I may be a bigot, but me and that man may be able to go out and eat and play games together and have fun. He might even be my best friend. You know, so creating the.
I have a question for you, sir.
Yeah, but creating the definite lines and distinctions between these terms are key to us moving forward and beyond. Having the accurate definition and applying the words correctly is going to give us strength and power. Go ahead, bro, with your question.
Well, my question was basically, you just answered it. Because the solution, you know, a lot of times we focus on, give it power when we give it energy, but that's good to identify it, but we also have to build on the solution and make the solution tangible and feasible for people. Because a lot of times people, we know the problem, but people don't make the solution simple, like meditation, you know, things that you've used in your life. Like, for example, you can speak from experience personally, because you're a well-versed and well-traveled man. I have the pleasure of knowing you. So what can you share with our listening audience?
Well, as I said initially, I feel that we are in a state of emergency, and I think all the commonly accepted indicators thereof say the same thing. Our youth are basically their education, their spiritual enlightenment and awakening, their connection to the universe is being challenged and disrupted at this point. Our relationships, male and female, the positive, the negative, the ebb and the flow, you know, the cycle, the elements of the cycle of our lives is also being disrupted. And when we see this, of course, if we cannot maintain the relationship between ourselves and our children, ourselves and our wives and our husbands, our sons and daughters, and vice versa, then how can we then step outside of that paradigm and create relationships with other cultures, other groups, other races? You see, so I think in the global potluck that we've been invited to come and share in our wealth of knowledge and the things that were given to us throughout the creation, and to partake, we have firstly been deprived of a lot of our human rights and our common understandings of what it means to be human. And until we as a people began to grasp and really inculcate the tools of civilization, the tools of family, the tools of community, until we do that, coming to that table, we will just be a recipient and treated poorly. So I think that we firstly have to come and have an internal conversation. You know, a lot of people, they become upset with me because I tell them when they say, you know, we're doing this for the community, we're doing that for the community. And I say, sir or madam, we do not have a community.
Teach.
We have a population.
Right.
Now, if you've ever been on lock or in that place or behind the glass or wherever you want to look at it, if you've been in that place, you know that we are told that we're in general population. Sometimes if you snitching or you soft or you can't hang, they put you in segregated population or housing.
The whole.
So
PC, nigga, PC.
why
up.
is it? Why when we ain't out of there?
City.
Yeah, why when we ain't in Punk City? Or I'm not gonna go there. We're not gonna have that type of degrading conversation for those.
We
guys
know a
in
couple
mind.
cats that
Takashi,
took
not
a
you, buddy.
detour with the PC. Come on, G.
But why is it not the prison community? Why is it not the general prison community? Why is it the general population? Well, let me tell you why. Because someone supplies your water. Someone supplies your air. Someone supplies your food. Someone supplies your clothing. And no matter how tight-knit you are, Aryan Nation, La Raza, no matter how tight you are, cuz, no matter how tight you are in their blood, you are still the population. Remember that. So out here on these bricks where you control nothing, where you have no water, your water supply is not even yours. Your air supply is not yours. Your housing is not yours. Your car is not yours. You still contend that you have a population? You cannot contribute one thing to this group of people other than some words and maybe some temporary funds or monies that you've amassed just to give to them, to give to somebody else, to continue to pay for your education, your energy, and your economic platform on which you live to survive. So this is not a community, because there's no cyclical nature to the commerce and the unity that you claim to be part of. You're just an asset to someone else's community. And until we have the realization of this and say, wait a minute, we need to manufacture our own food. You brothers are from the nation of gods and earths. And in the 80s, I don't know, a lot of people won't remember this. I'm from the Midwest, Chicago, Kansas City, St. Louis, Minnesota, all of these places, right? So in the 80s,
the land,
we were all together because we were the bastard sons of the real parties, okay? And we came together because we had no parents, because they were MIA, because of the CIA. Okay, so when we came together, we stood strong on the intention to get knowledge and to better our communities. And we didn't have these invisible lines of division that, oh man, you're this or you're that. Hey man, your pants look like this. You can't hang with me. You got that on. You can't come over here. Oh, you said that. Oh, he did this. We stood together as one.
Yeah, but you had to have a nice sweatsuit and a nice
pants. Yeah, we had that.
You had to have game. You had to be game tight. You had to be credible, man. You got sanctioned to come off the porch. You wasn't just street.
That's right.
Youngster. Because you think you are.
And we didn't have our pants falling down.
No.
Okay? We did not have our pants falling. Sometimes there was a little tight. Mine wasn't because I didn't have a belt. But, hey, listen. The point I'm making is this. We came together because it was just a knee-jerk reaction without external control. And this community that we created, fueled by, illicit drug sale, music, and our inclination to just come together because we had nothing else, was called hip-hop. Okay? And the words were being spoken by the people that we trusted, who were able to obtain a little bit of the wealth of the land and trickle down theory to us, the reality of the real world, that it was us versus them. So what I'm saying is this. After the commercialization and induction of our culture or our music into the mainstream, and then it being chewed up and reiterated and regurgitated back up on us, now it's a caustic acid that burns and divides and destroys our community. And we see that. I heard a brother on the radio the other day. He was talking about how sad he was about Nipsey Hussle and this and this and that. And I was just listening. And another brother called in and said, man, what are you talking about? Every day you're on the radio with your song talking about kill this person, shoot this guy, sell this dope, kill this man. And now you want to sit up here and play some game like you're sad he got killed? Ain't that what you was praying for?
Well, you said something when we started the show, family. You spoke about the word, and you said in the beginning was the word, then the word was made flesh. And rappers need to understand that. These are not just empty words. Your words will become flesh, and they might come back to put a hole in your flesh.
That's real, man.
And y'all talking too much on the song, man.
Come on, man.
That's how they keep getting you, dumb motherfucker. Why would you tell all your business, your BI, man?
Man.
Come on, man.
I mean, I think this comes from a hyper-feminized society based on fantasy.
Emotional gangsters and sensitive thugs?
I mean, that's a response to the actual thought process that's going on. But if everything's a TV, merrily, life is but a dream, and I'm gonna get up here and spit my little 5 minutes of funk over this bunk, and then kick it to y'all and get the bag in the trunk. If that's my thing, then that's what I've been trying to do.
Right.
But it all goes back to what I said about the breakdown of the social fabric that's related to the man, woman, and child being unable to form the life cycle. So we got to get back to that. We have to address these issues internally.
Right.
And this ain't a colored people conversation. And forgive me if that offends any of you all, but if you, like myself, grew up, like I said, in the 70s and 80s, your grandmother was there and she told you, hey, listen, if somebody called me colored while I was walking down the street in 1945, they got the umbrella upside the dome. So don't come to me with your colored people lingo.
Well, when people get to saying that term colored, right, then I think of a chameleon. So if somebody colored you this color, we can color you that color.
Right.
When we go in the Black's Law Dictionary and they talk about a colored person, it's a person that has an ambiguous identity. Like when you have a color book and you can color that person whatever color you want to. And I don't think that's a safe thing to have an ambiguous, multi-changing, always changing identity,
That's real.
Yeah.
And I think, go ahead, Brother Vic.
No, I just want to add on to what the guy said. Like, ambiguity is like African American.
Right.
See, African. All these labels and these terms, these political terms that give you black. You don't know your national history, your national name, and your origin, which is Asiatic. Some people call it Moor, Nubian, but these are the original terms and names for who you are. So the law deems you ambiguous or colored or a commodity, a straw person, paymaster.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so these are all valid points. I recently was on a similar radio show. Shouts out to Choice FM.
Choice,
West
come here.
Africa.
Bop, bop.
Put it down. No. But I asked the people, because I was in the presence of several different African, so-called African tribes and linguistic scholars and people that spoke up to 11 languages. And I asked them, I said, can someone in here tell me what language, what tribe, and what dialect the word African comes from? And they went into the, you remember the George Jetson washing machine, just zzz, they was froze, you know what I'm saying, just looking into space like, I don't know, brother. I think we'll make that link available. But the reason why is because it wasn't from an indigenous tribe, people, group, culture, language, whatever you want to say, from that region.
Yes, sir.
And so this is another handle that signifies that you are a colonial or enslaved asset. Right. And now apply that term African to anything that you want, and this is a colonial or slave holding. Right. Whether it's a person, a land, we're in Africa, what part, this part, who named it that? Oh, you know what I mean? I'm an African American, how'd you get here? Oh, you know what I mean? And the story goes on and on. Right. And the reality is this. We talk about solutions, and I like that. And I want to be the first to say, well, not the first, but the one of the ones to reiterate. There is no political solution for the problem that we have. Correct. Most of our problems have been created by westernized politics and Greek philosophies from, Platonic philosophy, democracy and all of that. And am I saying, oh man, we gotta, nationalize this and become communist or socialist or this? No, I am not. Right. What I am saying is the Western rendition of politics combined with racism, combined with one other word that we did not study, and that was hatred, have created an environment and a tool that is simply used against us, even in our own hands. Right. you know.
Right.
And we have to ask ourselves sometimes, is freedom the friend or the enemy?
Right.
If you ever had a dog and you love that dog, and that door came open and that dog ran out into the street and got hit by a car, he was free, wasn't he? Hey, listen, ignorance versus education. You know, we have to, as a people, stress this. You know, what is education? Is it a piece of paper? Mm-hmm. Is it a stamp on your forehead after the man get through with you in his indoctrination camp and say, you got it? Mm-hmm. Toby, go run that lap?
No, sir.
So,
That's another important word. I'm glad you brought that word up, because when you go into the word education, it comes from the Latin word educato, you know, meaning to bring out what is within, you know, not to indoctrinate.
Right.
Not to put something in you, but to bring out the good, what is within you, to develop it. Like when you have, you know, you have a negative, and you put it in the water, it's educated because what's in it comes out, which is the color, the picture, the image. You know?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
and that's the real true process of what they call educato, you know, in Latin. Yes, sir.
And I say that no matter what you call it, in education is the teaching of someone to use their mind so that they can create solutions to the problems in their life that will help them survive. You got people with PhDs out there on that street here in Seattle, walking down the street talking to their shelf with no shirt on and no shoes. You got people with educations that jump up on MSNBC and these other networks and babble. They have not created a solution for anything other than wasting time between the commercials.
The Tower of Babel.
So let's redefine education to be something practical, something driven, and something that creates community. Because as the population here in North America, we have always been the leaders of the world. All right. Now let me refresh people's memory. The United States of America started, apparently, or according to them, in 1776 as a global corporation. Sure. Is the largest, youngest nation on the face of the earth. At this point in time, and for the past 100 years, it has been the most advanced economically, technologically, and several other earmarks show the advancement of these people here in this region.
Correct.
Now, the people that founded the country came from Europe and were products thereof. Large segments of them were what they would call the dregs of society, meaning these were not the best of the best of Germany, the best of the best of Spain, the best of the best of England. These were
the prisoners,
the outcasts. And
prisoners.
the lower ranking, even the lower ranking admirals and generals of British British maritime admiralty.
Right.
What is it that separates this country from the rest? Well, the answer is simple. This is the country that said, no matter what, we're going to enslave, capture the dollar and the economic value and the intellectual prowess and ingenuity of the people from the oldest place on the earth. And we're going to model our civilizations after theirs.
Yes,
we're going to extract from them the best of the best ideas, and we're going to use that against our enemies globally and create the global marketplace, or the Americum known as America.
And I think what you just gave right there is a holy grail of what they call the United States of America. What you said, that's the secret, their best kept secret, me and you.
Well, it's not really a secret.
That's why we're on the back of the dollar.
It's not really a secret, because when we look at it, you got people from all over the world.
Okay.
They're actually fighting. You got a man in the White House, like I would declare national emergency if y'all don't stop these people from running through and bum rushing the gate. Okay, you got people from all over the world fighting to get here to take control over the reins over the slave and take control over those economic benefits and take control over that man's life, that man's organs, that man's mind, to sell you blunt wraps, crack pipes, 40 ounces, rap music, rap shoes,
And Deborah
plastic
Girl.
shoes.
Indian hair.
Yes. Anything that you got people fighting, dying. Not just fighting, literally dying on a daily basis by the thousands to get here just to pimp a system that is based on you and me. So let's get to the bottom line. What we have to do here today and now, and I understand people get caught up in memorialization. We don't want to forget our history, but don't start putting more energy into your history than you do into building your future. Okay? And our future is with our youth, and the education needs to be with us to be imparted on the youth, and the history needs to be embedded in the education.
Actual fact. That's word is bond. Can you tell all of our listeners where they can get in touch with you or somebody from Africatown International? And is there anything, any initiatives or any events that are going on anytime soon that they can come and plug in, and get some more of this substance, family, that you're pouring out so freely?
Yes, sir. Right now, I have observed globally that our people are in a state of compromised security due to the fact of losing their housing.
Yes, sir.
Our land is being compromised in different areas. And, I'm not going to go into the politics or the storyline on, hey, man, they took our land. And I'm not going into that.
Yeah.
But the common family, let's focus on the man, woman, and child.
Yes,
the
sir.
traditional family, the basis and fabric of civilization. Let's focus on that basic unit right there, the atomic structure of civilization. And let's say, hey, they don't have a place to live.
It's a problem.
It is a problem globally. Here in Seattle, one of the capitals of wealth and poverty combined in the same place.
Good.
White and black.
Next door
up
to
and
each
down,
other. You know
hot
what
and
I'm
cold.
saying? Like the man walks out of his condo and it's a homeless person sleeping on his front lawn.
And like I did the other day, I just had to just keep walking. I didn't even wake him up.
Really?
I think
Literally,
somebody
you
go
used
to my
to it
house
now.
and say, "Hey man, there's a man.
There's a
blanket
man
on the shirt."
outside.
God,
There's a man
remember that day
outside.
we went over there?
Yeah, him. That's who was there.
The guy was laying out.
Yeah,
The guy was just
Yeah.
laying there. Hey, he was
Just laying there like he
You, have to
lives
lay-
there.
you should have gave him a pillow.
Nah, man. Hey, I'm not gonna contribute. Don't get comfortable laying on the ground, brother.
Because he
Get
might
up.
come and knock and
He
say,
said,
hey, you got a
"Freedom,
peanut butter and
he
jelly
gonna
sandwich? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
No, you help him
gotta-
up the first time, dust him off, give him a few dollars, man.
Man,
So,
hey, listen. If you
Watch
Send him-
out, he might
send him
bring
to
a friend back.
send
A
him to
woman.
the shelter,
Yeah,
man.
exactly. Well, I'm gonna do something better than that. Africatown International
All right.
is currently the managing partner of the Centralized Diversion Fund. This is a privately funded initiative to address the homeless throughout King County. We have no cap stipends and awards going to individuals and families that would like to be stably housed. You can contact us by going to our website, Africatown International. There's a link at the top that says Centralized Diversion
Is
Fund.
that
Managing
.com
Partner.
or AfricatownInternational.com?
AfricatownInternational.org.
.org. Okay, there we go.
And we can assist you in finding one of the agencies that we fund throughout the region that can get you off the streets tonight. We have a 24 to 48 hour turnaround in delivering funds to individuals and families. A lot of you may know me from our homeless prevention networks and our efforts there, where our funding was limited to only supporting families, men, women with children, men, children, women, children. There was no discrimination, no favoritism. A lot of times in some of these organizations, you go, hey, you're not a woman. I know, but I got kids. I don't believe you. How do I know? Don't even ask. But I've been there, done that. But on the flip side of the game, you don't have no kids. You just got out of jail.
Right.
You just got out of rehab. Got kicked out your mama's house. You are your mama and you out. I don't know. whatever the situation, whatever the scenario, reach out and touch, and we will put you in touch with the bread that will give you somewhere to lay your head. Because without that, you will never be able to do anything else besides remain in survival mode out here on these streets with these people and this craziness. Come on home.
So for, everybody might not necessarily have a computer. Is there a phone number they can call, a hotline they can call to get in touch, contact you?
There is a 1-800 number.
Okay.
And that is 1-800
1-800
889
889
9383.
83. Okay.
Give that number a call.
And we're going to repost that on our 206 Classic page on Facebook. So keep your eyes open.
Right on. So, of course, special consideration will be given to families with children, families sleeping in cars, families outside in exposed regions and areas. But anyone and everyone is welcome to partake. I will personally address and make sure that your case is handled and that you get off the streets. From there, I have a host of other resources. If you serious to get your life together. I'm a man who has lived on that street, who has slept on that sidewalk. Okay? I have been with my children. 7 children. Some of them I think is listening on the thing right now. But they can tell you, hey, we've been walking down the street with a suitcase trying to find somewhere to sleep.
Right.
Okay, that's bit, and I'm not saying that like, man, but I'm explaining to you. I've been there.
Right.
And
so it's a different level for it for you.
Right.
You feel the pain.
I feel the pain, but I want people to understand, hey, you can uplift yourself. You can come out of it. And people were there to help me. I'll shout out, the YWCA. I'll shout out several other organizations, but, Janice Hardy, people like that. I would shout them out because they real.
Yeah.
But I'm here for you because I want you to experience or have the chance to experience the same success in your life that I did in mine. And I know unless we reach out and strengthen our families and our network from that basic unit, man, woman, child,
yes, sir,
on up, until we do that, then we will fall victim to politics, miseducation, racism, bigotry, and all of that. When we are empowered, those are just terms and words in a book that we have mastery over.
All right, y'all, there it is. Malakhi Kaine, once again, from Africatown International, talking to us, about the word being made flesh. In the beginning, there being the word, and also about, we don't say homelessness anymore. The new word is displaced. Displacement,
Displaced households.
And we got another organization in the building, Corner Turn. And Corner Turn, Africatown International 206 Classic, we got a real nice event coming up to really put those resources on the table for the displacement that's going on within the Northwest. Stay tuned for that. It's probably going to be like a sports tournament type of thing coming up, in a few months coming down the line.
Get your game up.
Keep your eyes peeled. If you got a team, bring your team. We're going to see what you're going to do. But right about now, we went a little bit over. But it was good, substantive conversation. So, it's all love. I want to say peace to everybody who's in the building. Peace, Tone.
Peace.
How you doing, sir? I want to say peace to DJ Cameron over there chilling, ready and willing.
How you doing?
Peace. Our engineer, and I want to say peace to all of our listening audience from the Central District to the South End, Rainier Valley, Kent, Federal Way, Burien, West Seattle, where you at, 206, stand up in the building. We love you. I'm going to see you next Saturday. Black at ya. Blah, blah! Peace to the gods.
In the midst.
That was good. That was good. Now, who was brother that called Malakhi, the other one? Where's he from?
He from
Harlem, right?
Harlem.
Yeah.
They just changed the street name to Law and Justice, family. In the middle of this, named it after our founding father. It was peace, man. It was
In Harlem.
In Harlem.
Yeah.
It's named after a Law and Justice in the 5% Square. That's what it's called. So they do it. It was like 20,000 people in the street in Harlem, and it was all peaceful.
No.
Yeah. Can I get the archive?
It should be online right now. So I'm talking to Third because Third's on the. Well, he's not here right now.
Okay.
But he's gonna send it to you because he has the UW login to get on it.
Okay.
He'll email it to you.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been texting him though.
Is it working though?
Please,
Because I know
man.
last time it wasn't.
Yeah, I should be. I mean, I clicked it on. I'll be able to check it
Did it
right
go
now.
on? Did it go on?
I'll
Yeah,
do it right now.
Yeah,
Peace,
that
God.
was supreme. That was supreme, man.
Peace to y'all. Y'all have a good one. 206 Classic, to God's
We rocked that, man.
Yes, sir.
black man, woman, and
Well, my
child.
man, what happened to him?
One love,
Yeah.
Third.
Craig.
one nation,
All of them, they missed out.
good early
He had,
direction.
I don't know,
Peace
Craig
out.
had missions.